So, with a bit of luck, we are live and connected. So, hi there, Vitali. Hi, Lucia. Hi, Ollie. Hi, Javi. Hi, Renyard. And Slow Sunset Vibes. I think I'm going to start calling you SSV. I quite like SSV. Okay, and hi, Renyard. Okay, in response to Renyard's question about is it agreeable to working or agreeable to work? So are you agreeable to working this weekend? Are you agreeable to work this weekend? I'm pretty sure both of them fit. Although I think personally I would probably say agreeable to plus ing. Are you agreeable to doing this? But I'm pretty sure both work. And hi Manisco and hi Bogdan. And hi Manny as well. Yeah, I quite like SSV. So let's see. Next stream on Thursday, the 5th of January at 4 p.m. And what will we be doing on Thursday? We'll be doing sentence transformations. So wonderful to have you. Wonderful to have you, Manisco, Bogdan, Manny as well. So let's start. Okay, this article is about the way that we think and how it might affect the language that we speak, how that might affect the way that we think. Okay, so it's not going to let me do all of that in one. So here's the first question. There. Yes, 12th. The 12th, yes. Definitely. Let me just check that. Thursday the 12th. Thank you, Ronan. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Hi, Patricia. Yes, the 12th. Thank you, Ronan, for getting that right. So, in fact, when the Aymara talk about the future, they tend to make backwards signals, marks, cues, gestures. Whereas people who speak Spanish, for example, who view the future as being ahead of them, make forwards signals, marks, cues, gestures. Okay, so this is probably quite an easy one to start with. Lovely to have you with us, Patricia. So we've got gestures from SSV and gestures from Vitali and from Bogdan as well. So signals, marks, cues, gestures. Yeah, I believe the Aymara are a tribe in Latin America. And Tatiana, welcome. Good to have you, Tatiana. Thank you. You see one in Russian that I can actually read. And Ollie goes for gestures, and so does Ronan, and so does Javi. And Renyard as well. Let's see. A cue is something that tells you what is about to happen. So, yeah, him coughing was a cue for me to make my speech. Yeah, or a cue. It's something that indicates it's time for something else. A signal. A signal normally tells you it's time for something to start. Yeah, they're making backwards a signal. So a flag is a signal that it's time to start the race, for example. A mark is normally written on a piece of paper or something visual that you can see. No, a gesture is when you're moving, you're gesturing. Gesture. Backwards gestures, very definitely gestures, and gestures for the second one as well. Okay, so let's try the next one. That was very good. A landslide victory to the students, as always, or as usually. And here comes the next one. Okay, similarly, Like the Aymara, Mandarin speakers also imagine the future being behind them and the past ahead of, prior to, in front, previous, beforehand, then, calling the day before yesterday front day and the day after tomorrow back day. Okay, this is going to be another easy one, I have this feeling. So similarly, like the Aymara, Mandarin speakers also imagine the future being behind them and the past ahead of, prior to, in front of, previous, beforehand, then, calling the day before yesterday front day and the day after tomorrow back day. Okay, this one's going to be another landslide. So we've got ahead of for SSV, for Bogdan, for Manny, for Ronan, for Ollie, for Reynard, for Lucia, for Vitali, for Javi, and for Patricia. And the answer is definitely ahead of. AHEAD of. Prior to, this is talking about time. So prior to giving this lesson, I was fast asleep in bed. Yeah, prior to, it's before in time. In front of them. Yeah, previous again talks about time, and beforehand, you do something beforehand. I did this beforehand. So definitely not is time as well. Hello, Jack. Lovely to have you. So let's try this next one then. Unfortunately, I can, whoops. Those that speak both Mandarin and English tend to switch between a forward and a backward conception of the future, at times in ways that can disagree, clash with, differ, combat, collide, crash with each other. Hello, Vaishak. Great to have you. Yes, I've started to call Slow Sunset Vibes SSV, by the way. So, SSV goes for clash with, Vitali goes for clash with, Bogdan clash with, Ollie clash with, Lucia clash with, Javi clash with as well. Okay, so let's look at these. That can, it would be disagree with, yeah, to differ from, yeah. Yeah, if two things clash, they're mutually incompatible. That's the idea, Jack. Yeah, if I have two classes that clash with each other, they're at the same side. Clash with for Manny as well. It's lovely to see you, Manji. Great to have you. So that can differ from, I think combat is physical fighting. Collide with each other as well. They would need a with. And crash with. Let's see, Jack. It needs to be that can disagree with each other. Yeah? If we had a with, Jack, it might work. Clash with for Reynard. Clash with for Manji. And clash with for Patricia as well. To crash with is to physically collide. But I like this, to clash with things that are mutually incompatible. They don't go well together. Yeah, so very definitely clash with. Okay, they clash with each other. Collide. You can, but not commonly, SSV. I see my boss and the head of the company on a collision course. there's going to be a big argument with them. I think collide is nearly always used more physically. I'm trying to think of collide in a more metaphorical sense. I guess something could collide with your beliefs. Can be incongruent, that can be incongruent with each other. Lovely. Yes, incongruent, definitely, Patricia. So, did you carry an umbrella with you tomorrow, or did you need it yesterday? The answer might depend on, in, by, with the language you speak. This one's easy. I think today's questions are really easy. I should have made them harder. I obviously wasn't thinking so clearly last night. When truth and hate collide. I love that example, Manny. I think that's a great example. Yeah, where truth and hate collide. I love it. It's good, great, Manny. It's really good English. So we've got Bogdan says on, and so does SSV, and so does Vitali and Renyard, and Jack and Lucia. If something sinks in, it enters your mind, you think about it, you absorb it mentally. Yeah? Because very often people say things, but it takes a while for it to sink in and you to actually understand the reality, Vaishak. Andre goes for on, Manny for on, Vaishak for on, Ronan for on, Patricia, Hadi, Ollie, and Manji for on. This one was an easy one, wasn't it? Depend on. So let's try the next one. Ooh. Ah, that's a shame. Tatjana goes for on as well. Opinions could collide. That's a good example, Vitali. Thank you. Not really anymore. Just the ones I have at the moment, Andre. Yeah. Okay, a celebration because it's not as hard. Thank you, Ronan. But the truth doesn't clash with hate. Falsehood will clash with truth. Yes. So we're starting to get some answers here. So we've got spatial with a T for Jack, SSV, Manny, Vitali, Bogdan. With a C, Jack, it's talking about space, but space out there. Yeah. For example, a spatial rocket. Yeah. For example, that goes into space. Yeah. So spatial with a C is talking about outer space, whereas spatial with a T, which Manji has got as well, and Ollie, talks about dimensions. Yeah. Okay, collide, measures to protect the environment and industrialization without reason. Spatial with T for Lucia. Space metaphors. Ha, for Javi. Spatial metaphors for Patricia. Ronan goes for spatial. Yes, Vitali, it could be with a C, but also spatial with a C is talking about, so in the spatial void. And Rupa's gone for spatial as well with T. Hubby said space metaphors. And you see, I think if the word space here gives me the idea of the planets and the stars. No, here the answer is spatial, Spatial, talking about dimensions and talking about 3 dimensions. Yeah. Okay, and that for me is the real answer. So Tatjana goes for spatial with a T as well. Okay, so Casanto noted that people tend to use spatial metaphors to talk about duration. For example, in English, French, German, or the Scandinavian languages, a meeting can be long and a holiday short. Yeah. Okay, let's try the next one. Yeah, this one fits. So, Casanto showed that these metaphors are more than ways of talking. People believe, conceptualize, think up, theorize, hypothesize lengths of time as if they were lines in space. So, Casanto showed that these metaphors are more than ways of thinking. People believe, conceptualize, think up, theorize, hypothesize lengths of time as if they were lines in space. Okay, so let's see. We've got conceptualize for SSV and Vitali and Bogdan and Jack. We've got conceptualize for Ollie, Lucia and Rupa. Good morning. Good morning, Manu. Buenos dias. No trabajas demasiado, eh? Conceptualize for Ronan, conceptualize for Patricia and Renyard and Vaishak. Vaishak goes for theorize. Manji goes for conceptualize, Hadi for conceptualize, and Manu for conceptualize. So let's see. Theorize. I think firstly you theorize that. To theorize is to provide a theory. So I think people theorize that it doesn't work. To theorize is to put forward a theory or a reason why something happens. Bonjour, Mauro. Great to have you. As if, think of lengths of time as if they were. Let's see. Believe something is. No, to conceptualize. It's how you see in your mind. Conceptualize. I'm going to give it an S. To think up is to invent. Yeah, theorize about. Absolutely, Bogdan. Think up is invent, and to hypothesize, this is to put forward or to propose a hypothesis. Conceptualize, yes, Tatiana. Okay. Let me. And the next one. He initially believed this was universally true for all people. No matter what, be that as it may, regardless of, irrespective, the language they speak. Conceive of, yes, I would definitely could replace conceive of with conceptualize with conceive of, Vitali. Okay, so SSV goes for regardless of. So does Rupa, so does Bogdan. Vitali goes for regardless. Jack says irrespective of, but there's no of here. Ollie goes for regardless. Comprehend, conceptualize. Yeah, they comprehend the length. I think conceptualize is better, Mauro, but comprehend would work. Okay. Okay, let's see. Where am I? I'm lost. I'm lost. Irrespective of for Jack, regardless for Ollie. Irrespective, says Vikash. So look at this. Irrespective of. It's got to have an of. Lucia says regardless of. Regardless of for Manu, regardless of for Renyard, regardless of for Manny. Okay, so no matter what languages they speak without this thee, yeah, Tatiana, no matter what languages they speak, but without this thee, no matter what languages they speak, without thee, no matter what the language is, no matter the language. So, no matter the languages they speak, no matter what languages they speak. So, let me write these two. No matter what languages or no matter the languages they speak. Yes. Okay. So let's see. Okay, Manji's got regardless of, Patricia with regardless of. Okay, so I've cleared that. So yeah. You can't use no matter what with this structure. It's got to be one of these two. Okay, so these are ever so slightly different. Yeah, we could also, no matter what language they speak, regardless of what language they speak, you could take out this S very definitely. So the answer is regardless of. It's the only one that fits. Whoops. Okay, no matter what you say. Yeah, the brain needs Viagra to give us harder exercises. Okay, let's try the next one then. But, okay, I need to paste this into position. And, yes. But when presenting his findings at a conference in Greece, he was disturbed, disrupted, interrupted, heckled by a local researcher who insisted this wasn't correct for her language. Okay, so this looks interesting. We've got interrupted for SSV. We've got heckled for Vitali. We've got interrupted for Rupa. We've got heckled for Vaishak. We've got Manny goes for disrupted. We've got Ollie for interrupted. We've got Bogdan for heckled. We've got Manji for heckled. We've got Tatiana for heckled. And Jack for interrupted. We've got Patricia for heckled. We've got Manu for heckled and Renyard for heckled. Vitali's gone scratch that. He's gonna go for another one. We got Ronan for interrupted. Manu for interrupted. This is quite interesting. So firstly, hair. Ronan said heckled is good as well. Lucia heckled or interrupted. Let's see. He was disrupted. I think his speech. So Patricia said interrupted. Yes. Jack says this is very good. Researchers don't heckle, but they interrupt each other all day long. So I don't think he was disrupted. I think maybe his conference was disrupted. Yeah. But normally you disrupt a conference. He was disturbed. You disturb somebody while they're sleeping. Okay, Boris was heckled by many people. Let's see. Yeah, that's it, Renya. I like that. Basically, to heckle means the same as to interrupt, but in a stronger way. Interrupted is more polite. Let's see. I think probably both heckle and interrupt fit, but I think interrupted is a much better answer. Okay, yes, they do. But normally if somebody heckles, somebody who's heckling is trying to stop you from giving your speech. Yeah? Is somebody who's shouting and not open to discussion. As this person is insisting. Yeah, if you're heckling, you're rude and impolite, and normally a heckler will be thrown out of the conference. Yeah, hecklers are aggressive. Yeah, exactly. I agree with Manu in this. Yeah, the heckler only wants to stop, whereas in this case, this is a researcher who wants to add their opinion to it. And for that reason, very definitely interrupted. Okay, and let's try the next one. My response was a bit dismissive, admits Casanto, who had doubled in, doubled up, doubled off, doubled down on his view. Eventually, though, he says that he stopped talking and started listening. So a heckler always are interrupting people. Good morning, Claudia. Lovely to have you. So let me read this again. My first response was a bit dismissive, admits Casanto, who had doubled in, doubled up, doubled off, doubled down on his view. Especially though eventually though he says that he stopped talking and started listening. I thought this one was going to be difficult, but you all seem to be happy with double down on. So we got down for Ollie, for Vitali, for Jack, for Manji, for Bogdan, for Hubby. Interrupting is already unfriendly, I agree, and heckling is the next stage. Yeah, and I think if you're heckling, you want to stop the proceedings, Renyard. Whereas interrupt, you want your point of view to be heard. Okay, so Manu goes for double down, and so does Rupa. I thought this was difficult. Here, you get the direction wrong. So Patricia goes for double down and so does Lucia. Okay, let's see. Very often to double down when you are in a casino is to double your bet. Yeah? But in this case, to double down is when somebody disagrees with you and you start to maintain your position really, really strongly. Yeah, so when somebody criticizes you, normally the first reaction is to defend what you're saying even more strongly. And this is the idea of to double down. We use the phrase double down, Jack. Yeah. I actually went and I looked this one up. You don't double up. Most normally you double up to double something. Yeah. But to double down is to double your bet in a casino, for example, when you're playing poker. But also we use this to double down, means to defend your position even more strongly, especially in the face of criticism. And I think this is actually quite a good phrasal verb that I'm going to make a video on. Double down. Double down. So, and that's the point, Vitali. Yes, a heckler intends to disrupt, whereas the person who doesn't interrupt, exactly. It's about taking your argument further, as here. Exactly, Vitali. Okay, so to double down, yeah? To double down on your view, to support it even more strongly. Okay, and let's try one last one then for today. This one should be reasonably easy. I think hardly any of you got any of these wrong. So I'll have to make the sentence transformations even harder for Thursday. Okay, and the result changed the road, trend, course, rush of his research to focus on language-related differences rather than universals in thinking. Yeah, then you can understand. Stop talking and listen. That's the point. Manu. So, course for SSV, course for Bogdan, course for Rupa, course for Vitali, course for Jack, course for Ollie, course for Manny, course for Vaishak, course for Tatiana, and for Manji, and for Javi, and for Renyard. Double down, stand your ground even more. I love that, Lucia. That's a very good definition. Okay, that's very funny, Patricia. Ronan goes for course. Sveta, lovely to have you, goes for course. Manu goes for change the course. Lucia changed the course. Patricia changed the course. This was an easy one. Yeah, it's the course, the trajectory, the way that it goes. So, very definitely. Of course, for everyone. Very good, Javi. In and of itself. By definition, Vaishak. Something that defines itself. It doesn't need anything else to define it. So what he did was wrong in and of itself, without having to look at the context of Vaishak. Trend. The trend of his research. Trajectory, Patricia. Okay, universals, things that belong universally to language. Yeah? So he's looking at differences in languages, Jack, rather than universals. For example, I think verbs are universals in languages because we need words to describe doing things. Oh, I love that ipso facto, Vitali. Ipso facto, in and of itself. So, C-O-U-R-S-E. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stop here. So, next stream on Thursday, 12th of January at 4 p.m. UK time. It's been great to have you all. Thank you, Ronan. Okay, thank you, Manu. Thank you, Vitali. Thank you, Vaishak. It's been wonderful having you, Vitali. Thank you, Mauro. Thank you, SSV. Thank you, Manji. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Sveta. Thank you, Vaishak. Thank you, Javi and Lucia and Sveta and Ronan and Renyard and Javi and Tatiana and Manny and Ollie and Rupa and Bogdan and SSV and who else? And Claudia as well. And thank you to anyone else who I haven't said thank you to. Thank you, Andre, as well. And thank you to Bogdan and Jack. Thank you, Jensen. Okay, and thank you, Tatiana from Prague. Thursday it is. Thank you. It's been wonderful having you.